Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube subscribers and my Facebook group friends. This is an evening edition of Andy's free guitar chart videos. So let's dig into today's topic. It's a real hot topic, and when we use the string shapes to do a build to make a scale across 6 strings, let's say we start with the C shape. So we start on the E. This is your low E. I'm down tuned to low C. If somebody was down D tuned, it'd be right here. We would just start with the C string shape 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the G string shape 6, 7 root, and then the D string shape 2, 3, 4, and then the A string shape 5, 6, 7. And now we have to hit the tuning warp here where we have a third here between the G and the B string. So we have to go up one more to maintain the P4 pattern. So we have root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in today's lesson, we're going to learn more about those relationships between the strings. And that is in this chart right here. If we call the bottom string shape the bass, okay, here's your strings, E, A, D, G, B, E. And then we even have an imaginary string below it. If we call the bottom string shape the bass string shape, we could call it R. So if R is the third, we're doing a Phrygian scale. Okay, so that would go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3. Okay, in that case, we could call that bottom E string the root. But whatever we call it, it is certainly the bass string shape. Now if we were to start that C string shape 3, 4, 5 from the third string, it would no longer be the bass string shape. But the question then becomes, what is the bass string shape? And that's what we're going to learn today. So if we have a bass string shape on the bottom, let's say root 2, 3. Okay. Actually down here. It's a little lower for most guitars, but it ends on low E. Then the next string shape up is going to be 4, 5, 6. So that's just root plus 3. Here's root. Here's 1, 2, 3. So that's easy, right? Because they're all root plus 3. Root 2, 3 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6. Plus 3 is 7 root 2. 7 root 2. Plus 3 is 3, 4, 5. Now when I say plus 3, I mean 3 scale steps. So do, re, mi. That's 3, even though there's a half step in between do and re, and a half step in between re and mi, right? We're talking about scale steps here. So the string shapes are actually scale fragments, part of a scale. So let's look at that. Let's see if we can get this guy over here. Okay, so we'll just look up here. I often find myself doing that. We want to really get in on this diagram, so I'm going to move me over here. Okay, so these are the string shapes. They're 3 notes each string. So if you start on 5, 6, 7, key of C, that would be G, A, B, right? Sure, it's going to go, these are in perfect fourths. Fifth to root is a perfect fourth. Root to 4, perfect fourth. But the string shapes themselves, the old style, starting E, C, G, D, and A, which is a jumbled word, caged, okay, they are in fifths because the C string shape goes to the G string shape there. So the fifth of C is the G string shape. The fifth of the G string shape, 6, 7 root, is the D2 string shape, 2, 3, 4. Fifth of G is D. the fifth of D is A, and that kind of thing. There's a little peculiarity between C and E. The fifth of E is C, and when you're going down, the fourth of the C string shape is the E. But when we're using the numbers, and only the numbers, it gets easier. So remember, a scale is root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Okay? Now let's look. So what's the gist of today's lesson is how to actually find an easy rule to play the cutouts. A very easy rule that we're going to follow. So when we do a cutout, let's say we have a capo here. The normal play away for the C box. Let's get the help of the chart, because that makes life easier. We start on 3. E is the third of C. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to go from that 5, 6, 7 to root 2, 3. Right here, skipping the 7 because we just played it. That's the play away, and it takes us to root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the long C3 cage. Okay, the long C3 cage in the play away cages, in play away. So that's the string build that we did with the different string shapes, and this is the long one. So the long A, don't worry about this G part, because we're not playing this R here. It's just the long A, the 5A. The long root is root E, and the long C is 4C. The short C is 3, 4, 5. The short E is 7 root 2. So if you want to give a modal name to these things, 3, 4, 5 is your Phrygian. 6, 7 root is your Aeolian. 2, 3, 4 is Dorian. 5, 6, 7 Mixolydian. Root 2, 3 Ionian, and 4, 5, 6 is Lydian. So right there we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What one are we missing? What one are we missing indeed? We should be missing a string shape, because on top of 4, 5, 6 is 7 root 2, and we didn't play 7 root 2. I mentioned it, but we didn't mention it in the build. The 7 root 2 will go right up here if we had ourselves a 7-string guitar, right? It would go right up here. Imaginary string there. That's your Locrian build, 7 root 2. Okay, a little mistake there on the top, but that's okay. So that's basically your Locrian scale. Okay, and that is missing, just like I missed the scale there. So we don't have, in play away, we don't have the, it would be, where's our 3? Right here, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. We don't have root minus 3 in play away. Now, it's the same thing happens with the cutouts, the modal cutouts. So let's just look a little harder at what's going on. See, this is the thing. If somebody plays it for you and you see it, and all of a sudden you think it's easy, it is. It's easy if you know it backwards and forwards. This is another checkmate method to make sure you know where you are on the guitar at all times by a number of methods. So let's just start on, let's say, we'll take Mr. Capo off. Let's say we're going to do a Lydian build. So we got 4, 5, 6. We're going to start on 4, 5, 6 is our bass string shape. And the imaginary string below that is root minus 3. Here's root. It's a temporary root. It's a modal root. It's the Lydian root. It's the 4th. In the key of C, it's F. Root minus 3 is... So that's the